What's up, buds, and welcome to a new episode of the Earbuds Podcast, the podcast where two friends talk about one album for a long-ass time. We are your hosts. I am Lucas Genghis Khan Indrakovs here with my buddy, Brett. I feel the weight, Hanrahan.
Hey, man, I'm going to the gym.
I can feel the weight.
Chill out.
You, Brett. Jesus.
Look,
are you still going to the boxing gym or what?
I stopped doing that.
I can tell. I'm just kidding.
So I ate a couple more pizzas today than usual, all right? So what?
Well, Brett, we are here to talk about an album that you suggested for the podcast. It is going to be an album. Is it 3 or is it I?
I can only assume it's 3.
Okay.
It's the third album.
It's the third album.
3 eyes.
Okay. We're talking about 3 by Miike Snow. And as you guys know on these episodes, or if this is your first time listening, we like to go through the album as a whole. We talk about everything that we liked and didn't like about the record. Then we like to talk about our 2 favorite songs, and then we go into our ratings to kind of give you guys an understanding of exactly how we felt.
A 0 to 10 scale.
0 to 10, and we
revolutionary.
It's Olympic rules. We allow decimal points. God damn it! I don't care how much pushback we're gonna get on that.
We do have 3 judges on the side to make sure.
Yeah, to keep us in check. Well, Brett, you're the one that wanted to bring this to the pod, man. So tell me why.
That's right. A friend brought Genghis Khan to me. He showed me the music video for Genghis Khan. I don't know if you've seen it.
Genghis Khan.
It's like a James Bond parody where him and the villain are just like longing for each other. And that song always stuck in my head. And it was only years later when it's like, I might as well check these guys out. I checked out the album it was on, loved it. And I had no idea that these guys were kind of a big deal in the music industry.
Dude, I didn't know that either. They
wrote Toxic.
That blew my fucking mind when I found that out, dude. So the 2, is it 2 guys in the band? Is it 3?
I think the 2 make most of the music, and then there's a singer. I think that's mainly how it goes.
Okay, yeah. The 2 main guys, and I'm sorry that we don't have y'all's names pulled up right now, but they apparently have written songs for Madonna and Britney Spears and a bunch of other very, very well-known pop artists. And they literally won a Grammy for their song Toxic, which is one of Britney Spears' biggest fucking songs of her entire career. And I had no idea the same guys that wrote Animal and wrote Genghis Khan wrote Britney Spears song and actually won awards for that song. Like that really tripped me out, dude.
One of my personal favorite pop songs of all time, Toxic.
It's a fucking good one.
I didn't know that until 3 days ago.
I didn't know it until today. I was like just doing some like last minute research today for this episode. I had no idea.
And listen, I wanted to bring some of that fucking heat because I think personally they brought it on this album.
I didn't really see Miike Snow as a pop group. The first song I heard by them was Animal, and that's still by far my favorite song of theirs. And actually my favorite song of theirs is a reggae remix of Animal that someone did. It's an amazing remix. So I wasn't exactly excited to listen to this record. I kind of fell off after that album, and I just didn't expect such a at first listen a pretty straightforward pop record.
Yeah, I mean, it's not so experimental in any regards. It can be straightforward. It can be almost minimalist at times. But I think one of the main things going for it is how catchy it is. And the further you look into it, the more you listen to it, the more you recognize there are some interesting elements here. And there's some interesting instruments that make up the body of these songs.
I think you fucking nailed it. Like I just don't understand pop music. Really. I think that's just what it is. I'm obviously.
That's why I keep fucking challenging you.
Yeah, you do. And I'm glad that you do, man. And it wasn't until I heard Lady Gaga's Born This Way that I could see. Wow. Yeah. And that was just a couple of years ago. That was the first album that really proved to me what pop music could be in terms of musicianship. And at first listen of this album, it just kind of felt like this empty, vapid pop record. Like there just wasn't a lot to it. I thought the lyrics were really basic. I thought the musicianship and the songwriting was pretty basic and
Yeah.
something that I always get disappointed when I hear something that I feel like I could write because then I'm just like, well, why the fuck am I listening to this? I'll
Well,
just
then
go
why
write it.
didn't I write it?
Yeah, exactly. But I'm glad that, something that we do on this show or for this show is we listen to these albums multiple times for these episodes. And it really does change your opinion at the more that you listen, sometimes for the worse, but a lot of times for the better. And it really did do it for the better on this album for me. Like there's actually a lot more layers to this record than I first picked up on.
Yeah, I think at first Mike Snow had a bit of a minimalist outlook on making these songs, but by this album, there are a couple main instruments and a couple main driving forces. If that's some kind of synth or
Mhm.
a riff on a guitar or just the drum beat, but they sprinkle in these different parts and these different vibes into these songs, and I think the dynamic of the album is pretty good too, even though it's, a lot of just kind of bumpy,
Lots of four
danceable
four,
songs.
lots of 4/4, lots of
Lots of 4/4. They're not doing anything proggy.
no, there's nothing's gonna catch you off guard, nothing's gonna make you stop bopping your head on the album, but I gotta say, like, for something that at first listen felt just like a very, very basic pop record, there's actually a lot of hip hop elements in this music that I just didn't pick up on at first, and then, I mean, obviously having Run the Jewels on a fucking track on this album, which is, like, insane to me. Other people are
Yeah.
obviously hearing the hip hop in there, but it took a few times for me to pick up on it. A lot of the like vocal samples that they took from like old songs that they used as hooks in some of these songs. They even had fucking chipmunk like hip hop vocals, like old school Kanye
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
on
like
this,
in
which I didn't expect.
Heart is Full,
Yeah.
you kind of hear that vocal sample. It's like a cover of an old song or something. It sounds very soulful.
I mean, that is a full on hip hop beat on Heart is Full.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah, and that's why Run the Jewels is on
That's why Run
it,
the Jewels is on it.
baby.
I mean, was I the only one that it felt like I got major single ladies vibes from Heart is Full?
Really?
Did you is that just I mean, as someone who doesn't listen to a lot of Beyonce, and I probably have heard that song, I can count on one hand the amount of times I've heard Single Ladies, but that one track I was just I think it's the horns and the really splashy drum cymbals and that
Yeah.
sort of kind of like drugged up driving rhythm where it's a very strong beat, but there's something trippy and kind of
Yes.
flowy about it. It's really, really a really fucking great song, honestly.
I I love the way you described it, man. Like druggy and like trippy, splashy are like perfect descriptors of it. And we kind of get little bits and pieces of those throughout the album.
Yes, for sure.
But I mean, this is a very accessible album. Anyone can jump into this for sure.
I mean, this
It's
is
not
definitely
challenging at
something,
all.
we talked about Black Moth Super Rainbow, where you were like, I think I could put this on around my mom and she wouldn't freak out, which I completely disagreed with. I think this is definitely one that you could put around you can put it with your grandma and you can put it with your 5-year-old kid and they would enjoy it just as much as the other, and
Yeah.
I think there's something to be said about that. And I think that's probably what makes me shit on pop music so much is that it's almost too accessible,
Sure. Well, I
you know?
mean, that is the point of it.
Yeah, literally. Yeah,
So,
it's the point of it. But I think honestly, like the music really did it started I was able to start peeling away layers as I was listening to the album. And I was able to start picking up on things that I didn't notice the first time, or I didn't notice the second time or the third time, and
yeah.
it really does these songs, just like so many albums that we talked about before, feel very stripped down and almost like elementary in their songwriting sometimes.
It's very basic, very by the book.
Yeah, but it really did get more and more layered the more I listened to it. But I gotta say, like my biggest complaint about the whole album
Yeah.
is the vocals.
Really?
Yeah.
My biggest complaint is the lyrics. I I don't think it's the most basic stuff. There were a couple interesting lines to me, and my trigger being about, being in love with a stripper, which has been done to death,
Yeah.
surely, but it
The slam
was
poetry part on that song was so fucking weird at the end.
where it was like the little vocoder thing going up.
Yeah. And he's kind of like almost rapping, but it's more kind of slam poetry or whatever. But I mean, Genghis Khan, that chorus, I can't believe that they got away with that because that's kind of a fucked up lyric. I get a little
Like,
bit Genghis Khan. I don't want you to sleep with anyone but me. And I'm just like, dude, when you really dig into that and you find out what they're talking about, I'm like, that's fucking messed up, man.
no, it's kind of a fucked up song.
Yeah.
And the lyrical content, the topics, the themes, it's completely unfocused, completely erratic. One song he'll be talking about like I'll love you no matter what. Another song he's talking about like I kind of hate this girl. I don't really even want to
Yeah.
see her.
Like back of the car or whatever, where he's just straight up saying, like,
Yeah,
I just
he's
I
like,
just want to fuck someone in the back of a car. I don't want to love you or date you.
yeah.
Yeah. And then
And
he's
so
like, my heart is full. You have my heart. A lot of heart stuff
a lot
by
of
the whole
hard
record, a lot of
stuff.
heart stuff. But
So
I mean, besides the lyrics, I think something that I get really, really sick of in any type of music, but especially pop music, is when people sing in only falsetto vocals.
sure.
And that's like 95% of the vocals on this record are all falsetto. And it gets really old really fast. And I don't know anyone except the Bee Gees that can sing in falsetto and sound powerful as they're singing in falsetto. I think falsetto sounds very weak a lot of the times. And that's kind of something with the vocals on this record too, where I'm just like, there's not a lot of strong vocal delivery. It's all very kind of soft and, you know,
I I agree that there aren't really a lot of strong vocal deliveries. There's not really much emotion or passion
no,
or anything like that. I
yeah.
completely disagree that everything's falsetto and that they don't have a range. I
Well,
think
it's not
I think
everything. I said 95%.
okay.
Come on.
You
Give
got me there.
a little benefit there.
I there's a lot of falsetto, but I think there's a lot of range. I think there are different vocal deliveries. I think a lot of the choruses are super catchy but different enough
Very.
that you're not going to confuse them with each other.
No, I think there's a lot of catchy hooks and choruses on this record. And you're right. I mean, there's songs that they don't sing in falsetto, like Genghis Khan is not all falsetto, Heart is Full, uh, Over and Over. Those are just a few that they kind of play around with their vocals a little bit. And one thing I did like a lot that they did with their vocals is they affected them a lot too.
Those were my favorite parts in the album.
Yeah.
Like Feel the Weight, Heart of Me had a lot of that cool stuff. I
There's so many lines that would get stuck in my head listening to this, and a lot of them were the ones that they would like do really low, crazy vocal manipulation, or they would
yeah,
just, or like on For You, which is probably my most hated song on the record. But
just because it has Charlie XCX
I
on it.
mean, it didn't help that Charlie was on it, even though her chorus is incredibly catchy. But I think what I hated at first the most about that song was the crazy, like, they would take her vocal part and chop it up and make it almost into like part of the beat, you know?
Like at the very beginning where it's like
Yeah. Yeah.
dude, I love that part. You don't like that?
It drove me fucking crazy the first like 5 times I listened to it, and then it really started growing on me, and I hated it. I hated that it started growing on me.
Dude, I think that's a such a cool, interesting way to chop up a vocal line and make it sound like a weird arpeggiated synth or something like that.
Yeah, yes, exactly. And it reminded me a lot of something that a band called Discovery does a lot on their only record that they ever put out. Discovery is the singer of Vampire Weekend and um, oh my god, I can't believe I'm forgetting the other one. It was another like big band from around that time, but it's like it was like a side project for these two. Rah Rah Riot, that was the other band,
Right.
and they did a song that used almost the exact same type of vocal manipulation to like make part of the beat, and I thought they did it way better, and that was almost 20 years ago. But besides that, I think they do enough with the vocals. They switch it up enough in terms of like all the manipulation and effects they put on it that it didn't. I stopped hating it after a while.
Well, and that's all I ask
That's
for.
all you wanted
That's
to
all I
hear,
hope
right?
for is that I know Lucas is going to hate this at first. I
Yeah.
hope it grows on him.
Yeah, which it definitely fucking did, man. There was a lot of songs that I ended up liking a lot on this record.
Well, I mean, if you wouldn't mind, Lucas, do
Oh,
you
God.
think we could get
No.
into those little choices?
I had like 30 more things I wanted to say, but it's fine. I can just move on.
No, what do you have to say? What do you
No,
have to
no, no,
say?
no, 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 no. Let's do what you want. It's all about you, Brett.
Well, you're right.
All right.
Uh,
Well, let's get into our choice nugs then. Let's our two favorite songs on the record, man.
yep. What were your honorable mentions, man?
I would say, despite how fucked up the chorus is, I liked Genghis Khan a lot.
Mm,
I love that bass and the melody throughout the whole thing, despite the fucked up lyrics. Like I like a lot of things that they did on that. It's just a great pop song. It's very dancey. Heart is Full was another honorable mention. Straight up hip hop track, very of the times, 2015, 2016. A lot of synth trumpets and stuff. Like I think about Trophies from Drake or something. Like it makes me think of that same type of vibe a little bit.
right.
And I liked Long Shot 7 for what it was. I love the Asian vibes on that song. The weird synth string melodies that they were doing was really, really
Yeah.
cool.
I
Yeah,
thought the sample was interesting where it's kind of this orchestral string section doing
yeah,
the dun,
yeah,
dun, dun, like very kind of like classic old sounding riff, and then it kind of comes in full with the music and the drum beat.
for sure. But I gotta say, one of my favorite songs is "I Feel the Weight."
That's one of mine as well.
I feel the weight.
I feel like that was the best implementation of the
The
vocal
vocal
pitching.
manipulation stuff, yes, for sure,
It
for sure.
made sense. There are not a lot of sad songs on the record. There aren't a lot of contemplative or somber songs.
Contemplative is a
And
really good way to put it, man. I would the way I thought I was like, there's something very coming of age feeling about that song,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
Like it's melancholic, but it's somehow hopeful too at the same time, if that makes sense.
It to me it's someone slowly growing up and slowly moving on to another point in their lives that they kind of don't really even want to go to, but they know in the end is better.
Yeah, for sure. That's exactly the vibe that I got to, and it has this certain '80s feel to the music as well, and the production of it, where it's kind of airy and very reverby and bright, and there's a lot of like these little synth things going on at the same time, but it's just so it, it's just such a nice relief, especially after For You, like where it's like the
Which
most manic, fucking craziest song on the record.
yeah, it's right smack in the middle of the album. It's a great kind of breather, a great end to side A.
Yeah,
If you would like put it on a vinyl.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Love that chorus melody. I love all the background vocals, like you said, the vocal manipulation. Like that was an easy one for me.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And it's weird I sing this one a lot, and I feel like even though I can't relate to what this guy is saying, I still feel very like emotional about it
yes.
because it can, you know, be interpreted in these different ways.
And I feel like that's when you know it's a good song, man. When it's well
Yeah.
written, when it invokes or evokes a emotion from you that you might not even want to feel or be actually feeling at the time, but you can just hear it in his voice. You can hear it in the music. They pulled it off in communicating that emotion and getting it across in an audio. And it's really good song, man.
Yeah. I I would be interested in seeing if these guys like maybe had a different group that was less accessible and less pop oriented. I would be
Mhm.
interested to see what they do.
Yeah,
Uh
I mean, I can't even imagine what they would do, honestly. Like if you go from writing Britney Spears' Toxic and like Madonna songs and all this stuff, and then you go to I Feel the Weight, I wonder how many of these songs might have been shopped around. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
maybe written for somebody and they didn't
Yes.
quite like it and they were like, "Hey, well we'll use it for ourselves. We know it's a
Fuck
good
it.
song."
Yeah, here we have enough songs that have been rejected. We'll put it on our third record. Well, what's your second favorite song, man? What are your honorable mentions?
um there aren't many songs I don't love on this record.
Mm.
Lonely Life is kind
It's a
of
lonely,
over.
lonely, lonely life.
That one's That one, even for me, might be a little too
Dude,
poppy.
that one I could just picture being played over Mervin's speakers. Like that's being played at Sears Hardware fucking right now. That is the
Yeah.
most retail ass fucking track I've ever heard. It's like Drake's whole new record. Just like everyone at
Oh
Kohl's is gonna
God.
be
Well.
forced to listen to that all fucking day.
uh, but aside from that, honorable mentions. My trigger. I loved how hoppy that one was.
Yeah.
Uh, Heart is full for all the reasons you said.
The OG one?
Long, huh?
The OG one?
Oh yeah, the
Yeah.
OG. I thought Run the Jewels was nice, but I don't think they really added much at all.
Okay. Okay.
Kind of some throwaway verses to me, but
It's almost blasphemous, but okay.
okay, all
Yeah.
right.
All right.
Well, but my second nug has got to be the one that introduced me to Miike Snow. It's Genghis Khan. I, I, I this is the one I've heard the longest, and even though I have, each time I hear that drum beat come in,
Yeah.
I just want to get some fucking. I want to move my hands a little bit,
Dude, the
you know what
hand
I'm
moves,
saying?
man. Dude, I love the background, like
Yeah,
it just
yeah.
keeps that fucking rhythm and that vibe going really, really well. And I remember seeing parts of the music video, and the music video is really cool too.
The music video is iconic. If y'all haven't
It's
seen
cool,
it,
yeah.
check it out. Super great. But this chorus, as fucked up as a figure as Genghis Khan is, and the implications of this song, this is a very, very toxic song of a
Yes.
guy who basically wants his cake and like wants to have it and eat it
It's like a
too.
lot of dudes. They wanna be able to sleep around, but they get pissed off when their girl sleeps around.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and they get all fucking weird and possessive and everything. And that's literally what he's saying, right? It's like I get a little bit Genghis Khan. I don't want you getting it on with anyone else but me.
Yeah,
But Genghis
but
Khan famously fucking, almost like I don't know what percentage of China or Asia is direct descendant of Genghis Khan because this motherfucker couldn't keep it in his pants
yeah.
forcefully. Genghis Khan was a piece of shit.
But with all that being said, man, the chorus cannot be denied. It's super catchy. I love the verses, especially after the first chorus when it kind of gets brought down and the music drops in, and I got a feeling like
Yeah.
I just won the world war. Yeah,
That's one thing I got to give it up to them too. I feel like I can predict a lot of melodies, and like especially when it starts, I feel like I can predict where it goes. Just
right.
because we've listened to so much music. They
Yeah,
surprised me several times on this album where I thought they were going one way with the melody and they went somewhere else. And Genghis Khan was one of those. Like it was cool that it caught me off guard.
yeah. They've been writing music long enough that I think they know where those easy traps are,
Right.
and they can avoid it if they want to.
Right.
Which, they might not, being pop producers.
Yeah. But I mean, Genghis Khan, it's a solid song, man. That's one that had to grow on me too. But my second choice nug, it has to be Heart is Full featuring Run the Jewels, man.
The,
If there's kill me if there's ever a song that's featuring Run the Jewels that doesn't end up being one of my favorite fucking songs on the album.
I mean,
It
I'll
can't miss with me, dude. I love Killer Mike and LP so much.
it's so it was such a shock to me
Yeah.
that this even existed, cuz I had the CD for the longest time. And this song wasn't on the CD. I didn't know this version of the song existed until 2 weeks ago.
Oh shit. It wasn't on it's like a bonus track or something on streaming.
It must be like a bonus track that came out later, cuz
Ah.
they don't have it on the CD, and I thought like, "Oh shit. Run the Jewels is here."
Yeah, amazing. I mean, what a fucking get, dude. Like how did they
Uh,
get Run the Jewels to be on there? But honestly, the OG would have been my second choice nug. It
mm,
had Run the Jewels not been on this remix version of that because that song needed rappers on it. That song is a rap song with just Miike Snow or whoever they're called singing over it. Like it
right.
needed rappers, and I can't believe that they got two of my favorites to be on it. And they're doing what they do, man. They fucking killed it on it. It uh it seemed like there were certain things that maybe Miike Snow didn't want them to say. Like there's certain words that they seem like they switched up a little bit just because maybe Miike Snow didn't want them to say certain words. Like they were cussing, but they weren't saying, they were changing their words sometimes. I'm just like, that's weird that you picked that a little bit.
Like, was it an artistic choice that he, like, Killer Mike's was like, I'm a killer ninja,
Yeah, Ninja, I don't know.
instead
Or
of
it's Mike
saying
Snow just
like,
being like, hey man, can we just not say that on the track? Because they let him say anything else. And the fucking bearskin rug line from LP just cracked me up, dude. Like even he said even a bearskin rug in a living room could get it or something. I'm like, dude, you're fucking hilarious. I love
that's
LP.
I Run the Jewels is so good. I think it might be about time we review another album. That's for another
National
time.
fucking treasure. We've already reviewed two of theirs.
I think it's about time we review another one.
All right, fuck it.
But I think these are kind of throwaway verses. I feel like they
Mhm.
didn't really get a lot of time, but even their throwaway verses
It's just
are
they're
can
so
be
good.
entertaining,
Yeah.
and it not a detriment at all, but it felt very edited in after the fact to me.
Absolutely. Definitely. And but I love that they still kept in that part where the music drops down and they bring back that vocal sample.
Right.
And
Yeah.
it just feels it's just so it's such great hip hop writing for a beat. It's just it's perfect. They did it perfectly. And I love that they got a remix on it because they needed it. But I mean, with all that said, man, like I said, I wasn't that excited to listen to this album. I didn't think I was gonna like it as much as I did. And to be honest, the first couple times I listened to it was I felt very validated that I wasn't excited to listen to it. I'm like, dude, I would the last
Yeah.
thing I want to do is shit on a record for however long, especially one that you brought to the table. But it really did. It needed the multiple listens, but it really grew on me. I think this isn't such a shallow, empty pop record that I thought it would be, and then I thought it was. Lots of layers, lots of cool hip hop elements to it, lots of great dance elements to it. The production is on point. I think the only thing is like the drums are almost too punchy for me. Like
Yeah.
that snare has so much fucking low end to it. It's weird. But
It's very unnatural at times for
it's
sure
very unnatural.
when
It
it
almost
doesn't
sounds like
mean to
an
be.
electric drum. Yeah, it almost sounds like an electric set at times. But with all that said, man, it's a great pop record. It's definitely something you can put on, getting ready to go out or having a get together and a party at your house. Like it's perfect music for that. And despite how many times I'm probably going to go back to this record, which might not be often, I know it's something I can put on when I'm trying to get a certain fun, light vibe in the room, or trying to set the. I'm a vibe guide, you know that.
No. Well, you're not you you've been known to be a pretty horrible vibe guide, actually.
I've heard the opposite. I've received great
You were the one
feedback from
telling
many
me.
people.
Yeah, people are like, you put on a playlist. People are like, "Hey, man, can you keep to like one
Oh, I've
genre?"
learned. I've learned my lesson. Yeah, because I wouldn't put on a playlist. I would put on my Spotify liked songs, which was like 9,000 songs, and just let it play on random. People hated hearing fucking, Swedish metal and then hearing Lizzo right afterwards. So like, fuck me. That's how I like listening to music. But this album really grew on me. I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Okay. Any pop album that I bring to you over a 6, I think is a victory to
I
me.
think, yeah, you should consider this a victory for sure.
I think I'm gonna be no, higher.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna be a
obviously.
little higher than you.
Fucking yeah.
Um,
It'd be weird if I'd have to change my rating if you weren't higher than mine. Wouldn't make any sense.
I think this is a fantastic pop album. It's a very safe album just to put on for any occasion, really.
Mhm.
Maybe aside from a funeral, but it's got super catchy songs. It's got interesting instrumentation. And I think it has enough dynamic that even a music critic would get something out of it,
Yeah,
if
I think
not
you're right.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
The lyrics are very shallow, uh, and that's the main detriment to me. But
But
I'm gonna
again,
give this one.
probably second or third language that they're writing in. So
Well, who knows?
who knows?
I mean, they wrote a bunch of other songs for American artists, so I can't
True.
assume they
Yeah.
don't know the language by now. When I want to dance, this is this is one of my go-to albums.
Mm.
And
How
I'm
do you
gonna put
dance?
this one at an 8.6.
Whoo, mama, mama
Yeah,
mia.
it's never done me wrong. I've listened to it a lot and it's never gotten old for me. I know it isn't really saying anything or anything like that. It
No.
is a pop album at the end of the day,
Yes.
but damn it, I just love it, okay?
Well, I'm glad you loved it so much, buds. Buddy, what did you guys think? We want to know what you guys think of this record. Are you as big a fan of Mike Snow as our buddy Brett here? Because I
As
doubt
me.
anyone else is, honestly. Well, but
I
I'm interested in hearing it.
Mike Snow Army, come out and defend me.
Don't attack me, please. But thank you so much for listening, buds. You can find us on Instagram at EVPcast. You can find me at Jean-Luc Guitard, Brett at Brett Hannerhan. Look us up on YouTube. If you guys are listening to this right now, the audio version, we have a video version that's going to be on YouTube as well. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, go listen to our audio version. Give us 2 plays for the same fucking episode. That'd be really cool. Give us a like, give us a follow, give us a subscribe. Thank you so much for listening, buds. Brett, do you know what album we're going to listen to next?
You know, I was we haven't talked about this, but I
We
was
haven't.
thinking next week would be a good time to do some listener albums.
Ooh, that is a great idea. Well, we'll let you guys know what those listener albums will be. We'll put out a post and let you guys know which probably 3 or 4 albums we're going to talk about on that one episode.
Maybe a poll?
Maybe a poll. Maybe we'll get a poll going. Hey,
Eh,
that's a
eh,
thing.
eh.
That's a thing. But thank you so much for listening, buds. Brett, what would you rate this episode?
Man, I'd rate this 3 out of 3.
All right.
One for each eye in the album's title.
Okay, I'm gonna rate this episode. What was that fucking what's that song called? God damn it, I have my notes pulled up. Long shot
Seven
7.
Nights.
A long shot 7 out of 10.
Okay, yeah, there we
So
go.
I got there. I got there.
Just find a number somewhere.
All right, guys. Thank you for listening. Brett, this was good.
Lucas, this was good.
Bye.
Bye.